we're talking asset purchases and leasing agreements. Now that can cover a whole host of things, right? Nicholas, share with us. What do you guys help with?
Well, when it comes to asset purchases, it could be real estate, it could be equipment, it could be intellectual property, it could be royalties, it could be any form of asset that has some sort of value. And the moment there's a value, now we're going to have an exchange. And when that value starts to increase, the more important it is to have a strong, robust contract protecting that transaction. And the question often is, do we buy or do we lease? And that's a financial question. And usually clients are coming to us and wanting to buy when it's an asset that's appreciating in value, when there's cash flow that they want to own versus finance. And then we have leasing when it's a depreciating asset. Maybe it's a $100,000 piece of equipment that in 5 years will be worth zero. And they don't want to buy it for $100,000. They just want to lease it. And then on the flip side, when a lot of our merger and acquisition deals will usually incorporate business and a property. And sometimes they're buying both. Sometimes they're buying the business and renting and leasing the property, and there's strategic reasons why. And so we'll have those conversations with the client to best identify, okay, are we buying this? Is that the best for you and the business? Or is it better to lease to own, lease and then plan on moving? What's the 3, 5, 10-year goal? And so when it comes to assets, you can buy them or you can lease them, and we can help you do either.
I'm curious, when you're having those conversations with them, when it's something more complicated, are you going to buy, are you going to lease? And do they always have an answer? Or, does the agreement you guys are going to provide, does that in any way, can that affect their decision of, well, okay, we will lease or we won't?
Well, the agreement itself isn't going to affect that decision. It's the fundamental business decisions. So a lot of times there's a certain amount of money from a lender to buy the business and the property. And if that amount of money does not buy both, then it's we're going to buy the business and lease the property. And then additionally, sometimes we're intending to lease because we want to buy this business, but we don't care about the land. We're just going to move that business into our property a couple miles down the road.
Okay.
And then when it comes to selling, the question, let's say one is selling their real estate property. Well, maybe they're going to get a lump sum and they're out. Or maybe they realize we want to cash flow this and let's not sell it. Let's just have a strong lease, especially in commercial transactions. And there's things we can do like an absolute double net zero lease or a triple net lease that creates a very beautiful structure as a landlord where you basically are very passive. You're not paying property tax, insurance, you're not doing renovations. It's all on the tenant. And so if you could sell it, get a chunk of change, great. Or if you can lease it and just collect mailbox money for the next 5, 10 years, depending on the long-term lease, then that could be a great decision for the client.
Do your clients always know about what you just mentioned there? Do they know about that? Or sometimes they say that we want to lease, but what are our options? I mean, and you guys know them. Are you able to, I guess, advise or not advise them what they should do, but let them know what their possibilities are?
Yeah, so we always go through every detail of what the client could need.
Okay.
And so generally there's a great quote by JP Morgan. A person has 2 reasons to do anything. 1, that sounds good. And 2, the real one. And even, when the clients are coming to us, they're not intending to lie or be deceitful or deception. This is what we think we want because it sounds great. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Why do you want that? Let's peel this back. Oh, have you thought about this and that and this? Oh my, no, actually what we really want is this. And we thought this was going to get us there. Thank you for your counsel. Now we see there's a way better approach. And so we'll advise on that. And to your question about the different types of leases, it depends on the client. If it's a simple client who is maybe just getting into this line of business, a lot of times they don't know. And they just say, oh, help me get a lease. And then the question is, what kind of lease and what's included? And are we doing this? Oh my gosh, you can do that? we'll educate, and if it's
Okay.
the best move, we'll make it happen. And then also we help sophisticated clients who this is their business. They're buying and selling commercial property and they want triple net leases and they know exactly what they're doing. And it's a 25-year lease with a certain staple of a tenant and they know it all. Like, fantastic. And we're happy to serve you and meet the client wherever they're at.
Nicholas, a lease seems like it'd be a pretty straightforward deal, but it's really a little more complex than that, right? What are the things people don't understand that can make a lease more complex?
When it comes to leasing, at the end of the day, it can be as simple as a handshake deal.
All right.
It could be a little bit more complex and a half a page. Say, this is the property, this is the rent and security deposit and the term. And those technically are binding contracts. Now, what makes a lease, especially one that we prepare, a little bit more complicated is we understand that there's a lot that could happen. And we don't know what we don't know. And already the US has been around quarter of a millennia. And there's been countless transactions and leases through the 2.5 centuries where these obscure situations happen. And when they happen once, that means it can happen to anybody. And when we know that that happened, we put a provision in the lease. And next thing you know, you might have a 12-page lease when maybe you just want 2 paragraphs. But those 12 pages protect against any number of 300, 500, 700 things that could go wrong that probably won't. But if they do, it could be catastrophic.
And it's worth it to have another page or two, and it's almost a history lesson, right? Because you're just going, this has happened before, it could happen again, let's just put it in there.
Exactly.